Hello, hello, Globies and newbies who are just joining Glorious Life on Wheels for the first time. It's been a minute or longer since I've done a cooking show. So, I thought today I would do lasagna. Now, this is not, I have to warn you up front, it is not a budget meal, but it is yummy. And I do a few little things that I think will catch your eye and catch your attention. But you know what? We've got the noodles, the pasta boiling for the lasagna, and I've got the other ingredients. So what do you say? Let's go ahead and get started. But before we do that, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so you'll get notifications. I've got so many fabulous tours and interviews coming up, plus some more cooking shows. So come on, let's start. I am making a delicious lasagna today. I've had so many requests for it that I thought, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and make it today. Here's our noodles. I've already cooked the noodles. They're a little bit al dente, so not quite, I don't like mushy noodles. And I'm going to cook it a little bit longer, and you'll see, so they're a little bit al dente. I'm going to put that aside. And here's what the ingredients are. And here I have ground beef. And you need to also add minced onions to this. So dried minced onions is fine. Also, I've got here, you'll see this is hot Italian sausage. I like the hot Italian because it gives it a little bit of a kick. And I squeeze it out of the skin. You know how the sausage comes in a skin? I kind of squeeze it out. And I'm going to put that on and let that start cooking. And I'll show you the rest of the ingredients. I like a lot of different cheeses in spaghetti or in my lasagna. Now this is a mozzarella cheese. Here I've got mozzarella and some Parmesan, and I think it has a little bit of Romano in it. Then over here I'm going to do a ricotta. Instead of ricotta, you can use cottage cheese. And over here I'm going to make a kind of a cream sauce that I'm going to dip the noodles in. So I'm going to use half and half, and then I'm going to put the cheese in that, but I'll show you. My seasonings are Badia. You know I love Badia. I have garlic powder, onion powder, and sometimes I use garlic, sometimes not. I'm not going to today. And I have some basil, and I also have some Italian seasoning, and then I'm going to use some ground pepper. Now, I'm going to add just a little pinch of sugar, just a pinch, because that brings all the flavors together. And then also on top, I am going to add a little bit of this 3-cheese mix. Or is it a 4-cheese mix? Actually, it's 4 cheese. It's Monterey Jack, medium cheddar, queso, and asadero cheeses. And I'm going to just sprinkle that on top, and you'll see, I'll show you. Now, I am going to do this on top in my Omnia oven, so I'm going to kind of bake it on top. But everything's already cooked. The meat will be cooked. The noodles are already done. So I'm really just baking it to let the cheeses melt and bring all the flavor together. So let's go ahead and get this puppy going. Oh, you can already smell how good it smells with the with the sausage in here. Just like I like to use more than one cheese, I like often to use more than one meat, including Italian sausage, or I also like to use, well, sometimes lamb, but, just mix it up a little bit. So I'm going to turn this down just a little bit, just a tad, and I'm going to start adding some of my seasonings. So I'm going to, remember the minced onions, then I'm going to add some onion powder, plenty of onion powder. Then I'm going to add some of my garlic powder. I'm going to add a little bit of Badia, not too much, because I don't want it too salty, and I can always add more later. Remember I told you, be a little bit chintzy on the salt to begin with, and then you can add it later. Now I have my Italian blend of herbs, and I will use that in a few minutes, and I think I'll add my pepper right now. A little bit of pepper. And you know what, on seasonings, everyone's taste is a little different. So just do it, add as your taste buds tell you and dictate. And you're going to be sampling it as you go. So we're going to let this meat cook up, and then I'm going to come back and add the tomato sauce and show you what else we're going to do. We'll be back in a minute. Well, the meat is almost done, but it doesn't need to be quite done because I'm still going to be cooking it when I add the sauce. Now, two of the sauces I like, well, I like homemade sauce, but I found that these taste just as good, almost, if you doctor them up a bit. I like the Ragu Old World style traditional sauce, and I like the Prego tomato basil garlic salt, or garlic sauce, excuse me. But what I'm going to use today, I'm going to use the Ragu. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an entire, oh, by the way, I had a pound of meat and about 3 or 4 hot Italian sausages. I'm going to, uh-oh, let me see if I can get this open. Hold on just a moment. All right, so I'm going to add the sauce in here. And then once I add the sauce, I'm going to start adding my Italian seasoning. Now this Italian seasoning I really love, but I almost had a stroke when I saw how much they wanted to charge me for it. But it's an Italian herb blend, and it's from Morton and Bassett. It has in it, oregano, basil, garlic, thyme, rosemary, onion, parsley, and savory marjoram and sage. I just like this combination. I think it's just fabulous. So I'm going to use probably, you know what, I'm just going to take this cap off of here because I want to use a good amount of this. Not a teaspoon, but a good, maybe a teaspoon, a good amount. And then sometimes I will also add a little more basil. But I'm going to turn this gas back on here, and we're going to, now what we're going to do is we're going to get this mixed up here. While I was on break for a second letting this cook, I did drain a lot of the fat from here. There's still some, but I did drain a lot. So now you see the tomato juice, and oh, that's going to be good. I actually could have used a bigger pot here, but it is what it is. So I'm going to mix this all up, and I'm going to cook this uncovered for about maybe 10 minutes. Let the flavors seep in here. Let me turn it down a little bit. I got it a little too high. And you're really, at this point, you're simmering this, getting all the flavors in here. And you want to get the meat mixed up really well with your sauce so that all of the meat is coated really well with sauce here. Oh my goodness. And I like the meat in chunks. I don't like little tiny pieces of meat. So I've got, you can see here, I've got good size, I'm going to show you here. See here, I've got good sized chunks of meat. So when you bite into this lasagna, you're getting good chunks here. Now you can also, and I didn't do it today, but I have in the past, I've added mushrooms to this, and that's really good too. But I do that more with spaghetti than lasagna. So we're going to let this simmer, and I'm going to add just a pinch of sugar, like I said, to bring all the flavors together, and we'll be back in a few minutes. You see here, I'm just adding a little pinch of sugar, not a lot because I don't want it sweet, but just a pinch to just bring all those flavors together. And we're going to let it simmer a bit longer, mix in that sugar, let it mix a little bit longer, and we'll be back again. Well, the sauce is divine, absolutely divine. Now, I did, you know what, it wasn't quite where I wanted it to be, so I had to bring in my old reliable soul food seasoning salt. So I brought this in, I added a little more of the Italian blend, and then I also added a pinch more of sugar because it didn't quite come together. But as I say, just taste it, add a little more of this, a little more of that, and as long as you have the right ingredients, you can add them as you go. But now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do what I think is going to make this, just take this up over the top. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this sauce aside, and I am going to make, this is a cream sauce that I make for the noodles or the pasta. So what I'm going to do, and this is where this cheese is coming in. So I'm going to add, I'm going to get, this is half and half. It's kind of a, I think they call it bechamel. I don't know, but some kind of name. It's a French name, I think, but this is my version. I'm going to add about a cup or so of this cream sauce, or actually this half and half. Then I'm going to turn on the heat to kind of low. Then I'm going to mix in here. I still have my spoon with the sauce on it, but you know that doesn't matter because it's all going to go into the same pot. I'm going to add this in here and let that get good and melted. I'm going to add this Parmesan cheese in here and Romana, and I'm going to let that get good and melted. And then I'll be adding some more on top of the layers, but this is just what I'm going to put in, and you can see this is going to be melting here, and it's going to make kind of a cream sauce. And in a minute I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add my secret ingredient, and I'm going to share my secret with you, so don't go away. Well, if you're still here and you stayed for this, you're going to see my secret ingredient, which is Philadelphia cream cheese, the chive and onion. And I'm going to use probably about maybe 3 tablespoons of that. And I'm going to put that in there, and I'm going to let that melt down in here. Let's show them, Enoch, how this sauce is coming together. See how this is coming together? It's melting and it's nice and rich and creamy. And I'm going to let this cream cheese melt in here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my noodles to this and let them get nice and coated in this. Oh my goodness, this is going to be. And this is what I also do for my spaghetti. And I got this idea. I added my own little kick with the cream cheese, but I got the idea of adding the cream sauce to the spaghetti when I do it from Simply Mama Cooks. I love that channel. She's a great cook, so go over and check out Simply Mama Cooks. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pasta, my lasagna noodles, and I'm going to add them into here. They're a little stuck here. That's all right. Let me get them unstuck here and add them into here and let them get good and nice and coated in this sauce. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put them on the layer to layer up. Oh my goodness, this is going to be delicious. And we'll come back and I'll show you how I will assemble it in a minute. Now this, I must admit, is a little bit messy. Now I did also add a little bit more cream to the sauce over here because it was just a little too thick. But what I'm going to do is I assemble my noodles that are coated in my sauce on the bottom. And then what I will do is I will add a layer of the ricotta cheese, because it's easier to put the ricotta cheese on the noodles than try and spreading it over the meat. So what I'm going to do now is I will add a layer, let me get this fork, of ricotta cheese and spread that over here. Spread some over here, and it'll spread as it's heating up. Now spread some over here, and here we go. Then I'm going to add my meat. Again, this is going to be, how can I do this without making a mess here? But so that you can see it. Oh my goodness. You could only smell what this tastes like. If you could smell what it tastes like. If you could only smell what it smells like, and I know it's going to taste like. How's that? Is that better? Look how rich that is. Now usually I would do, if I was doing it in an oven, say at home, I would do several layers. But since I'm here, we'll see how many layers I can get on here. Then I'm going to add some cheese. This is my mozzarella. I'm going to add some mozzarella on here. And this is the mixture cheese that I told you about. I'm going to add some more mozzarella. This is the mixture cheese. Add them both around here. And let me show you what cheese. The mixture cheese was mozzarella, provolone, and parmesan. That's what I'm using on top there. Then I'm going to add another layer here. And this is nice and coated with this delicious. You know what I should have told you too? I think I had done, for simplicity purposes for the show, I cooked the noodles ahead of time, but I suggest that you cook the noodles just before you're going to use them, because you don't want them getting all sticky together. And I always did more noodles than I really need, so I'll have enough for some more. And I think I'm going to add, let's see, oh, I got a mess here. But I'm going to add some more meat here. On top. And you talk about rich, good. And see how the sauce has thickened up here? Well, here is the last step. Remember the 4 cheese I told you about? 4 cheese combo? Now, I know you're saying, oh my goodness, that is Mexican cheese and you're making an Italian dish. I love mixing cultures with food. Oh, it makes it more interesting, and this gives a little tanginess to it and richness. Now, this is a very rich lasagna. I don't know how much you can eat at one sitting, but it is beyond good. It's the best lasagna I've ever had. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this and I'm going to bake it in my Omnia oven on top of the stove on a low to medium for about maybe 10 minutes or so. Or maybe 10 to 20 minutes. And the only reason I'm doing this, everything's already cooked. The noodles are cooked. The meat sauce is done. It's simmered. I'm just doing it. You know, the sauce, the white sauce that I uncovered the noodles in was cooked. But I just want to melt this cheese. And that's why I'm doing this, to melt the cheese. So we'll come back in a few minutes. And oh my goodness, I didn't eat breakfast this morning because I knew I was making this. And oh my goodness. Well, just come on back and you're going to see. Whew, just come on back. That's all I can say. All right, we'll be back in a few minutes. Well, it's all ready to see how it... Oh my goodness, look at that. Does that not look scrumptious? Ooh, it smells divine. Well, we're going to come back and we're going to sample it and let you know how it turned out. And it is heavy. I mean, heavy. Ooh, we'll be back in a second. Oh my, I can hardly wait. I've been wanting this all day, just thinking about it. Let me get a good bite. See all these, can you see all these layers of the rich cheese and Romano cheese and all the different cheeses, and then topping it off with the four cheese. And then you can see right here. Oh my goodness. This is good. I just bit into some of that Italian sausage. Well, if you want lasagna, this is the one to make. So, oh, let me put this down. I'll be back. I will be back for you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Oh, I feel back at home, back in the kitchen, cooking for you all. Excuse me. But stay tuned. We have more cooking shows that will be coming up. And I did it in the Omnia cooker, which is stovetop. So you don't have to have an oven to make a delicious meal like this. And I have just a fabulous tour coming up in a couple days on Thursday. So stay tuned for that. Love you. May your journey be filled with joy and blessings. And I will see you in a couple of days. Don't forget, hit that bell so you won't miss out on a single episode. Bye, Globies. See you later.